Welcome, parents of and students in the Alpha Scholars Program Cohort Class of 2027. Welcome to our virtual meeting. I am Mrs. Wilson, the Alpha Scholars Program Coordinator.
I'm Mr. Wilson. I'm the Alpha Scholars Counselor.
So we just wanted to present you guys with some information that is going to be important for the students' sophomore year. So let's get started.
Okay. All right, so I think that's me. So it is important to note as you are jumping into sophomore year or your student is starting the sophomore year that high school transcripts are going to be important to pay attention to. Ninth grade does count for everything, but your college GPA and your Cal Grant GPA, which I'll talk about here in a second, start for sophomore year. So right now, if you were to look at your student's transcript, or students, if you were to look at your transcript, you would look at your Cal State UC GPA and it would still be a 0 right now because that GPA starts this year. So really, really important that we do well. But you know, you're an Alpha Scholar, doing well is kind of important all the time. So we really want to be careful with that. But I do want to make sure that everybody understands the Cal Grant GPA. Cal Grant GPA is only 10th and 11th grade, and it's going to determine how much money you are eligible for when we are doing the FAFSA your senior year. It's only sophomore, junior year. It's unweighted, which means that I know that C's happen sometimes, hopefully not though, if we can avoid them, but oh my gosh, C's can be a real problem when you have a bunch of AP classes and you're getting too many C's, because that unweighted Cal Grant GPA can really bite you if we don't keep that above a 3.0. So it needs to be over a 3.0 in order to qualify for Cal Grant A, which is more money, and the parent income ceiling is higher, which means that parents can actually still make a decent amount of money and your kid can qualify for financial aid. So long story short, we really got to be careful with that GPA. That's why we have that 3.85 minimum GPA, is to make sure that we don't damage your Cal Grant GPA. Okay, and if you have more questions on that, please come find me. I'd be happy to answer that.
We are very excited about the plans that we have for this year and the next couple of years for Alpha 2028. I know last year we didn't get to go to USC and UCLA because of things that were going on campus, but that is rescheduled for this spring, so you guys will get to go. But in the meantime, we have our trip to San Diego, which is an overnight trip to 4 different colleges planned for October. So more information about that. 11th grade year, we have a 3-day college trip planned. And the thing about these college trips is more than just, you know, getting off of campus and seeing cool architecture. It's really an opportunity for students to maybe visit schools that they hadn't thought about, maybe didn't even know that they existed, or even schools that they know about and they're excited about, and to be able to look around and think, is this a place that where I feel like I can really thrive? And so those opportunities are just so pivotal in that college going decision making process. It's really awesome. We also, in 11th grade, so that's next year, but you will be looking forward to that. We have a 0 period that will meet once a week to address things like PSAT and SAT prep, college research. Not sure about those start dates yet, but it'll be once a week, 11th grade year. And then 12th grade is really the same thing. We'll have a 0 period, and that 0 period will be for college applications. It will be for scholarships, for financial planning, like all of those things that are important to seniors. One thing that we're adding this year that I'm really excited about is trips to JPL, so the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. For those of you who are really serious about going into the STEM field, we have a former student who works there who has been able to negotiate trips for us. It's a very small group of students that we can take each time. But again, one of those things that Alpha Scholars is providing to really help students to be able to dream and think about their future. So for all grade levels, that college career guidance, that grade monitoring, checking in on students, both personally and academically, the opportunity to take so many AP and honors classes, support with community service, because that is one of our requirements, but every time we find out about an opportunity, we're sending that information to students like, hey, there's this great community service opportunity that's on campus, because I know you're freshman and sophomore year, when you're not driving yet, it's hard to get around, but we want to make that accessible to students. And then finally, of course, that one-on-one four-year planning guidance that Mr. Wilson will be offering as your personal counselor.
Yep.
We will also, in order to go on these trips, so for the October trip, students will all be re-signing their Alpha Scholars Agreement with all of those things that we are looking for, the 3.85 overall GPA, the community service, the good citizenship, like all of that kind of stuff. So we'll re-sign those Alpha Scholars Agreement. In order to go on the trip, that needs to be turned in. In order to go on that trip, you should have at least 20 hours of your community service completed. So hopefully you've been working on that, and if you're stuck on that, please come and see us. And then any absences that you have in August or September or leading up to it in October, those absences need to be made up in Step Up in order for you to be able to go on the trip. Okay, so all of these things are what we are looking for from you so that we can offer you these great opportunities.
Okay. All right, so how does AP fit in? What should you know about AP classes, AP in general? How does doing well in AP benefit your student? Hopefully this is something that students and parents are already wrapping their heads around, because you guys are sophomores, you've already done this for a year. But if you don't know what AP stands for, AP is Advanced Prep. It's specifically they're classes that are offered through College Board. College Board is the same company that does the SAT and the PSAT. And your student as a sophomore is taking AP European History this year. They might be taking AP Spanish if they've already advanced that far. They'll be taking a lot more AP classes next year in senior year. But obviously, I know that when students take an AP class, the goal is to pass the exam, right? So AP tests happen in May. If your student passes that AP exam with a 3 or higher, it's on a 5-point scale. So 3, 4, and a 5 are considered passing. And colleges will typically take those passing scores and turn them into credits. So that means that it's possible for students to already be completing some of their college requirements while they're still in high school. So obviously that's something that students are going to want to do, and you're going to want your student to do, is to pass that exam. But because it'll save a lot of money, right? So when they go to college, if they don't have to take a class, that's bypassing that, and now they're saving money when they get to school. So that's the goal. But we really do want to make sure that everybody understands it's more than just a score. Even if students get a 1 or a 2, it's about having that rigor on your transcript, right? So colleges are going to know when they see those AP classes and those honored classes on the transcript that students opted to take the rigor that was being provided to them by the school. And that last bullet there is that basically we believe and we know that students who take AP classes and honors classes are going to be more ready to handle that college level rigor when they get there, because they're being introduced to that while they're in high school. So it's all about making sure that your student is getting ready to do the rigor that's going to be expected, and then hopefully they're going to pass the exam. But if they don't, they still have that rigor on their transcript. I do want to point out, because I've had a lot of questions this year, now that the district is offering the early college program through Valley, I have a lot of parents and students that are asking, like, hey, what's better, taking a community college course or taking an AP course? And my answer as a counselor would be both. That's really a hard thing to answer. Like, I think in a perfect world, students would be doing both. They would be taking, if they can, they would take as much AP classes as they can handle in their schedule. And then if they also wanted to take some community college classes, you can definitely do that at Valley or Chaffey. Those are the two community colleges that are closest to us here at Carter. And I have students that take classes in the summer. I have students that will take stuff during the school year. And yeah, I think a combination of both is the way to go. Students do not need to be in the early college program to take a community college course. I would say about half of the Alpha Scholar juniors and seniors are taking community college courses. So definitely something to think about as well. And students, if that's something you're interested in, please come talk to me. We can talk about that further and see how that fits into your plan. Okay. All right, am I doing this one? I think I am, yeah. So what should you know about the PSAT? So as a sophomore, you're going to be taking the PSAT. That usually happens in October. I have not seen the dates yet, but I don't believe that all of the sophomores are going to have to take the PSAT, but it absolutely is an expectation for all Alpha Scholar sophomores that you're all taking the PSAT. The PSAT is the practice SAT. You'll be doing the SAT as a junior. These are college entrance exams, okay? So something you should know about SAT is everything's been a little bit in flux over the last couple of years. Like over the pandemic, many of the colleges moved away from requiring SAT scores. Like right now, the CSUs and UCs won't look at them. We are kind of feeling like it's headed back in the other direction, though. So I know, especially for a lot of private schools and out-of-state schools, the SAT requirements have been coming back, and I absolutely expect that Cal States and UCs will be moving back to requiring this as well. It won't hurt you to take it. I think it's another thing that helps. Some scholarships require that you do it, and the district pays for all of this, and so you should absolutely be doing these college entrance exams, because all they can do is help. And so yeah. So and like Mrs. Wilson said earlier, we're doing prep for that junior year. So your PSAT scores are going to help us better understand like where we need to be doing prep.
Yeah, because the juniors also take the PSAT. So you take the PSAT your sophomore year, you will take it again your junior year in preparation for the SAT.
Lots of tests.
Yay. All right, so that's a lot of information, and next Thursday, so the 22nd, is back to school night. And so Mr. Wilson and I will be available in the Career Center before back to school night all starts. We'll be in the Career Center from 5 to 5:30. You can pop by, ask a question. You don't have to stay. But we just want to make sure that all of this is something that you understand, know where you're going, and feel confident about it. So we're looking forward to another great year in Alpha Scholars, and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.